Busy day for you on Saturday, Mike, and I see Anemone as well bred as you could ever hope out of the Group 1 winning mare Alborency. What are you expecting, Mike?
I'm expecting a good run. She's a nice filly. She's showing us pretty good work at home. Obviously well bred. 1200 shouldn't be a problem. She's got plenty of speed. She's fairly well tried, albeit I always like to leave a little bit for improvement. One thing I certainly hate is having them 101% wound up first time out and there's no improvement. So she's going to improve with the run, but she's done enough work at home to deliver what she shows here. If she delivers her homework, she'll be right there.
Lovely. We've spoken about this on several occasions, and Simple finds herself with a number 1 next to her name after 7 lengths to Featherboa.
Ridiculous rating. I honestly don't know what races sometimes these handicappers watch, but she's been given a 93 for being a loser, and well-beaten loser. When you've got a horse like, I think it's Labicia, who won by 8 lengths, who's a 79, we've got to give him 7 kilos. Well, what do you got to do with horses like this? Hope they run unplaced, ratings drop, and she gets to a competitive level. So she would struggle to win a race like this. If she wins it, then she's obviously better than I think she is. She'll be a group filly. But it's going to be tough to give 7 kilos away to a colt of the same age who just won his last start by 8.5 lengths.
Desert Miracle just emptied out in the closing stages, and I don't think we need to read anything into Humdinger's run in the Charity Mile. Desert Miracle clearly just needed that, and I'm sure she'll be all the better for it.
Yeah, she's a filly we're going to restrict to shorter trips these days, given the well-documented issue of the bleeding that she's had before. I think as soon as we stretch her out, that it just puts too much pressure on the lungs. So, basically treating her as a sprinter. I thought it was a great run. Samanga got some stick for it, but I can tell you now, he rode exactly to instructions. His instructions were to sit last and sit on her as long as possible and let her go the last bit. She just didn't get there. So, but he did nothing wrong, and I was perfectly happy with the run and the ride. She has made improvement. Obviously, this is up against colts. It's very difficult. Sean's filly there's got some very, very good juvenile form. As I say, she's a filly I've always rated. There's no secret about that. She just, she's had this one issue that I think has been sort of holding her back a little bit. But we're treating her completely differently these days. And touch wood, things have been going well in training in terms of her respiratory issues. So I'm expecting a huge run from her.
On to Ifiko, who goes for a 5-timer, and what more can we say?
Yeah, she's surprised me the way she's risen to the divisions, this filly, and the manner in which she's won. I think a lot's got to do with a really good break she's had, obviously, but the other thing is she seems to win her races early, in that she gets away from them. I think with the softer ground, it's not going to be that easy. It never is. So this brings a whole new dynamic to her style of racing, the softer ground. Plus, we're starting to deal with a real quality field here. So, tough field. She's got the draw. I like the outside draw for her down the straight. But this is a whole different division in terms of what she's gone through. The form's been good. There's been winners come from behind her. So there's no worries there. The worry to me is she going to be able to do the same on a sticky track as she does on a firm winter track?
Okay, the Victory Moon, a race in which you have been successful on several occasions, and Sparkling Water returns to racing along with the Derby winner Aragosta and East Coast. Yeah,
look, it's an interesting race in terms, on paper, it's, for punters, it's an absolute nightmare with the conditions as they are. But it helps, trainers not looking for penalties and whatever going into the Summer Cup, obviously. Sparkling Water's coming off a nice rest at Maritzfontein, where she ran around there for a month and a half. She's doing really, really well, but a tough task at the weights. If you look right down the bottom, you've got Perfect Witness, who's extremely well in at the weights, and a few others right at the bottom. just in terms of handicapping. So she's got a lot to do. I can't say I've got massive expectations for Saturday. Obviously, the Summer Cup conditions are way more in her favour, and that's really our target race for her, with using this as a stepping stone. Aragosta is same thing. Also, has had a nice sort of month off after the Durban campaign. Really happy with him. Coming back nicely, but a hell of a lot to do with the weights also. But we just won, and we're trying blinkers first time. He's a kind of horse I've been wanting to put blinkers on for a long time, but it's hard to experiment in Julys and Gold Cups and all that kind of thing. I think this is the right race to experiment. He's always been that type of horse to me. Looks like he wants the blinkers. He's always shifted around in found trouble. Yeah, he's. So I hope I'm right, because I think he's a couple of lengths better, and he's very well handicapped for the Summer Cup. He's not well handicapped here, obviously. So we'll see. East Coast, he's got with the first 2 or 3 at weight for age terms, he's right in with them. At Sparkling Water, Aragosta, William Robinson, he's slightly better off at weight for age terms. But he's a 106 with a massive plus sign. We don't know what he can be or can't be. With the rest, he's super out at the weights. If you look at it right down the bottom there, his level weights with 4-year-olds of the same rating. I think it's roughly about 16 pounds this time of the year that he's out at the weights with. But again, we don't know what he is. Fortunately, with the conditions of the race, the handicappers can't get their paws on him. And if he does, when he gets 6 pounds, a big deal, So we'll take that if it happens. But we'd like to see what we have in the 3-year-old crop. Funny enough, if he ran unplaced here, 6th on top of them, it would be a massive run on paper. Yeah. So, time to find out. There's not much in terms of prep into the Dingans, although I think that's slightly on the short side for him. He's more a Derby horse. I'm just interested to see, where the 3-year-olds are. And, as I said to you, fortunately, the handicappers have got handcuffs on here, because I think if they ran last, they'd destroy him.
Well, I think it's actually a masterstroke, if you don't mind me saying so, because, running him in the Graham Beck would have been pointless.
No, that would have been a wasted exercise. I'd rather, because with the greatest respect for the field, half the field is dead, in my opinion. Prepping horses, including, some of mine at the top there. I'm not saying they're dead, but they are prepping. They're not 100%. So I thought it was probably a good race to have a crack and just see what's out there,
Al-Fatik, he backs up quickly after not a bad run last time out.
Yeah, he actually missed quite a bit of work. His run on Tuesday wasn't bad. It was a good gallop. He was finishing it off nicely. He's a horse that runs in snatches, so I'm going to stick a set of blinkers on him for Saturday as well. He wants this trip and more. He came out of Tuesday remarkably well. So I'm running him, and I think he'll go close.
Excellent. And then Silver Theatre and Sharapova, who's obviously a first-timer. Silver Theatre comes out of what probably was quite a strong maiden, I would think.
Yeah, to be honest with you, had this maiden been in the program, I wouldn't have run him last week, because he's been looking for 1,400, but it was one of those last-minute jobs, so I decided to take the chance, back him up. He's a very sound horse. Good form lines last week. If last week hasn't shaken him up too much, which it doesn't seem to have, he's got to go close. He's a fit horse. It's a competitive field. Sharapova's a very nice filly, out of Another Russia. Starts the 1,400 for the first time. Is obviously going to want more. Will improve a lot with the run. I think she'll run very well, though. I wouldn't leave her out of anything.
It's quite remarkable. You've trained the mother, you've trained Another Russia. How does time fly?
Makes you feel old, Andrew. That's the problem when you trained. We've got now a granddaughter of the grand. Yeah, it's quite mind-boggling. But it's also very satisfying in a way, training the progeny of fillies and stallions that you trained and made and prepared in the past. So it is also very fulfilling.
A bit like Sir Mark Prescott in the Ark. Trained 3 generations.
Yeah, well, we've got to get to the maidens first and about the Ark.